So I just realized before editing this video that my YouTube channel turned 2 years old today. Um, I started my account on December 16th, 2010. Uh, I didn't even really know it until I saw it at work today, and I guess it's a good day to put out this top 10 video. Happy birthday. Having a little under 200 subscribers by this point is pretty unimpressive, but that's partially my fault just because I don't put out content quick enough. But anyway, hope you enjoy. What up, you guys? Mr. Money1235 here again, bringing you my top 10 albums of 2012. It's been a wonderful year for music. There are a few albums on here that I would have included in this list, but it didn't quite make the cut, I guess I should say. I'll mention those at the end of the video. But for right now, here are my top 10 albums of 2012. Coming in at number 10, we have Deerhoof, Breakup Song. In my original review, I said that this probably wouldn't be one of my favorite albums, but the songs on this album just keep getting stuck in my head, and I keep returning to this album a whole lot, and I really enjoy it, so it just doesn't make much sense to me to not include it if I'm really liking it. It was really unexpected for me, but I'm really happy with this thing. I think it's a great, fun, weird listen, and it's one of the more inventive things I've heard, so Deerhoof, Breakup Song. It's fun. It's good. At number 9, we have Purity Ring with Shrines. I really like the type of music that these guys play. It's really different than everything that I've heard before. It's really like a dream pop, really reverby, really cool electronic type music. I don't know. It's just really cool what these guys do. It's really unique, and not a whole lot of bands sound like this, and I like them for that. I like them that they actually have their own sound. So, yeah, Purity Ring, Shrines. It's pretty good. It's fun. At number 8, we have Lone, Galaxy Garden. Some of the best electronic music that I have heard this year. I keep returning to this thing. I never get sick of the music that's on here. I just love the sounds that you get on this album. It's really cool. It really has, gives you visions of, tropical things, and it's I don't know, the music is just really awesome on this CD. The songs are really good, and good dance music. It's good to just chill to. It's just perfect. It's really cool. Lone, Galaxy Garden. Get that shit. At number 7, we have Owl City, The Midsummer Station. Trust me, I was surprised as you by this, but these songs are they're just infectious. This album is so fun. That's the best way to describe it. I just have fun listening to this, and I know that it seems kind of generic and really like a wrong turn for Owl City, but I can't help but love this thing. I don't know why, but a lot of the songs on here really appeal to me, like Gold and Metropolis. Those are both two of some of my favorite songs that Owl City has done, so Midsummer Station. Sorry, I love it. Number 6, we have Little Hurricane, Homewrecker. These guys play really cool blues music in the same vein of maybe the Black Keys or the White Stripes, and I just love what these guys do. They're one of my favorite discoveries of this year, and I'm really glad that I got into them. I seriously can't stop listening to this album at least once a month. It's just really good. The track listing is perfect. All the songs are great. Just wonderful blues. Great. Alright, here we go. Top 5. At number 5, we have Muse, The Second Law. This album has really grown to be one of my favorite Muse albums. Really close to the top, almost beating out my favorite album, which is Black Holes and Revelations. Once again, the track listing is perfect on this thing. I really like how varied and different everything is on it, and the songs are just wonderful. I love Madness, I love Panic Station, the singles are great, Survival is great, Animals is great, Big Freeze is great, Explorers is great, Unsustainable, really cool experimental dubstep thing. It's a really great album. Supremacy, James Bond theme, just perfect album. It's great. I love it. I know a whole lot of people don't, but it's good to me. At number 4, we have Linkin Park, Living Things. This album is so close to being my favorite from Linkin Park. They so delivered on this. I don't know if they listened to fans after 1,000 Suns came out and nobody liked the sound they were going on that and they decided to get a little bit heavier, but I love the mix of heavy and electronic on this album. I think it's perfect what they did. And once again, some of my favorite songs of the year on this album, like Lost in the Echo, Burn It Down, Lies, Greed, Misery, Roads Untraveled, Skin and Bone, Until It Breaks. All wonderful songs, and I just think it's a perfect album. Once again, love it. Number 3, we have Lindsey Stirling's self-titled album. I said in my review that this is probably one of my favorite albums of this year, and once again, it's just perfect. I love this style of music, the electronic and dubstep music mixed in with the electric violin. Wow, it's just perfect. I cannot stop listening to this. She's really talented, she's really great. She loves what she does, and I think it comes through in her music. And I just love this album so much. I love Lindsey so much. So, wonderful. Check this shit out. You're missing out if you don't check this out. And I don't think it's hard for y'all to guess what 2 is on here. Number 2 is counting 2 albums together. Uno and Trey. These guys fucking outdid themselves with these albums. And I don't care how generic people think they are. I just have fun listening to these albums so much, and I cannot put them down. I've put this playlist in my car of like the entire album. I put that shit on shuffle, and like when you put the albums on shuffle, you get a varied amount of different songs and different things going through. Some are really hard, some are really soft, some have meaning, some are just about partying. It's just so varied in songwriting style, and I'm sorry, I love what Green Day did on this, and I'm just having so much fun listening to these albums. Like I said, I can't put them down. They're just so good. And of course, my number 1 album of 2012, Dose by Green Day. I love how hard this album is. I love how fun the songwriting is. I love the partying. I love the rock horns up. So many highlights from the trilogy are on this one as opposed to the other one. Fuck Time, Stop When the Red Lights Flash, Lazy Bones, Makeout Party, Stray Heart, Ashley, Baby Eyes, Lady Cobra, Nightlife, While That's Loud, and Amy. Like, the entire album is just like a fucking, like, highlights for me. So, Dose by Green Day. Love the fucking thing. It's amazing. Before you think I'm just fanboying on Green Day, it was really, really, really hard to make a list this year. There was so many great albums that came out this year. Some of those that I put in that order probably weren't fair to them, but it's just simply because they had to go somewhere. So, I love all of these albums that I just mentioned pretty much equally. It's just so great. It's just such a great year for music. And now we're going to talk about some albums that didn't quite make the cut, and I'll tell you why. Shiny Toy Guns 3. After listening to We Are Pilots and Season of Poison, I found myself being a tiny bit disappointed in this album, simply because the songs just don't seem as fun, and they were just missing something. I mean, there's definitely some highlights on this thing, but the album as a whole doesn't quite appeal to me as much as I thought it was. Still some really great tracks on this album, but definitely not one of my favorite Shiny Toy Guns albums. But it's alright. Next up, we have Air, Le Voyage dans la Lune. My favorite album from Air is always going to be Moon Safari, probably, followed closely by Love 2. And I just don't think this is Air's best work. I know it was done for a movie soundtrack, and that might be why. But, I don't find myself listening to this one a whole lot as I do, like, Moon Safari. So, whatever. It's okay still for an Air album. I think they did a good job in movie soundtrack terms, but in, like, just chilling and listening to it, it's a little bit more of a, I don't know, it's a little bit more of a disappointing ride for me. So, next up we have Lana Del Rey's Born to Die. I still really enjoy this album, a whole lot of songs on it, but this one is simply put out because I just couldn't quite compare it to the 10 albums that I put on this list. I just don't think it was as good as everything that I mentioned, so that's why this one is down here. Next up is Hot Chip, In Our Heads. I really liked this album when I first listened to it, but as I've listened to it even more, I've just gotten a little bit more tired of it, more like listening to other stuff, and it just simply fell from the bottom of the list. It's not necessarily their fault. It's just, I got into more stuff that I thought appealed to me more than this, but it's still a fun listen. If I listen to it again, I'll probably fall back in love with it. It's just not where it was at this moment, so whatever. I was also kind of let down by the new Rival Sons album, Head Down. I know a whole lot of people are probably going to love this thing, but it doesn't have the same charm as Pressure in Time did for me. So, I just, I don't know. I just didn't care for it as much as I do Pressure in Time. But that's an opinion-based thing. I mean, I know a whole lot of people will probably like this better because it is a little bit more technical, but like I said, it just doesn't have the same charm as Pressure in Time for me. So, that's about all that is. Next up is Babel by Mumford & Sons. Kind of the same thing as Rival Sons. I found all the songs on Sigh No More to be very, very catchy and very memorable, where a whole lot of these I thought kind of blended together in my head, and I just don't enjoy it as much as Sigh No More, so that's another reason for that. Next up is The Killers, Battleborn. I liked like one song on this thing to an extreme, and that was Deadlines and Commitments. Everything else on this album I either thought was okay or I just did not like. The songs The Way It Was and Here On Out are both pretty good on this album too, but overall it was just one of my biggest disappointments of this year. And I'm still like trying to listen to it, trying to warm up to it, and it's just not happening for me. So The Killers Battleborn is probably one of my biggest disappointments of this year. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Even the albums that I thought I didn't like as much, I suggest you to check out those as well. Really great year for music. I love all these albums about equally. It's really hard for me to pick from all these. So, yeah, just have fun and enjoy the music. I'll be back later. I'm going to be doing some classic album reviews for you guys. I'm going to be talking about some albums that you always see on like t-shirts and, you know, the albums that are big and famous. I'll see you guys again pretty soon. Mr. Moon 1235. I'll see you guys later.